I'm making a Harpy Lady Necrophile. This deck is really fun. It has some dumb things it can do when it goes off. And last time I used it, I felt really dirty because it was this with Tri-Brigade Burn Up. I don't know why it's called Burn Up, but it was Tri-Brigade Leer Lusk. And Tri-Brigade Leer Lusk with this deck was really hard to deal with, especially when I'm using a trap card called Harpy's Featherstorm, which I'll get to later in the video. But using this deck, I think it's a really fun deck to use. It can really do things when it's underestimated, so yeah, and I found some cute things that can be done with it. Starting off with the deck profile, I play 2 copies of Barrier Statue of the Storm Winds. This deck's only in here because you only ever summon it off of Samord, Bird of Sovereignty. But it basically says neither player can special summon monsters except wind. And there's usually by the time you would summon this, you've already summoned your non-wind monsters that you want to summon anyway. And then play 1 copy of Harpy Dancer. Dancer's only in here because it lets you return a wind monster you control to your hand and normal summon another wind monster. So you have a barrier statue in your field, but you need to be on. You can summon Dancer. Dancer returns statue to your hand, summon a Harpy. And then you can summon your non-wind monsters and summon it back during the end phase with some more Burst Sovereignty. Then I play 1 copy of Harpy Oracle. Oracle is a free summon if you control a level 5 or higher Harpy monster. And when it's summoned, during the end phase, you can add back a spell or trap that lists Harpy Lady Sisters in its text from your graveyard to your hand. But if you control a 5 or higher Harpy when that effect's activated, then you get to add 2 instead. You can only use each of its X once per turn. Then I play 3 copies of Harpy Lady. I only like playing Harpy Lady because I found out that playing Harpy Lady and Unexpected Die is part of a opening that if you have Unexpected Die, Chandler, and any Harpy card, then you get to make Crazy Boards will go over at the end of the video. But this is only in here because it is a normal monster. And the reason it has to be a normal monster will be explained once I get to the extra deck. And then I play 3 copies of Harpy Lady Chandler. Harpy Chandler has the effect of you can discard a Harpy card to special summon another Harpy monster from your deck in defense position. As well as it also has the effect of if you control a dragon monster, which I'll get to once I go over that combo at the end of the video, or when we get to my extra deck. Well, if you control a dragon, it comes level 7, which is important for other things. So with the opening, this will be level 5 or higher usually. Then 3 copies of Harpy Perfumer. When it's normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Harpy spell or trap that lists Harpy Lady Sisters from your deck to your hand. But if you control level 5 or higher Harpy when it's activated, you can add 2. Usually with this, you end up getting Elegant Egotist because that card is nuts in this deck. But also, all Harpy monsters have all the Harpy Lady monsters have the effect of their names treated as Harpy Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. And then I play 2 copies of Harpy Harpist. I was playing 3, but I took out the 3rd one for something else I'm not too proud that I'm playing. But if you want to play a 3rd one, you always take out the Dancer or one of the 3 of the next, or one of the next 3. But Harpist has the effect of if it's discarded, then during the end phase you can add a 1500 or weaker winged beast from your deck to your hand. So the 3 best cards to see when you're going first are Chandler, Harpist, and Unexpected Die. But Harpist also has the effect when it's normal summoned, you can target 1 Harpy monster you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and return them to the hand. So it being normal summoned, it actually does come up every once in a while, but not very often. Usually just using its effect when it's discarded. Then I play 3 copies of Harpy Queen. Harpy Queen's literally only in this deck because it searches Harpy's hunting ground. And it gets another Harpy to the grave, which sometimes does matter. Also, it's a 1900 attack beat stick when normal summoned, so there's also that. Then I do play the one Harpie's Pet Dragon. If you don't want to take out any Harpie Queen, you can always take out the Pet Dragon instead, but I just couldn't talk myself into playing Harpie Lady without playing at least one Pet Dragon. Then the part I'm not too thrilled about, I am playing the one Red Eyes Fusion, Dark Magician, and Red Eyes Black Dragon. I hate these cards, just because of the card they're associated with. I really want Dragoon to get banned so that I don't have to just keep playing these in every deck I play. But that is it for the monsters. If you want to play hand traps, you always take out Dragoon stuff for hand traps. Or the Queens for more hand traps, but this is just what I like, so. Moving on to spells, I play the one copy of Alluring Mirror Split. Mirror Split is a fun card because when a Harpie or Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon another Harpie monster from your deck, as long as it has a different original name than the destroyed monster. So your opponent can attack a Harpie Lady, and then because it died, you can summon Harpie Dragon. Or Harpie's Pet Dragon, because it's a Harpie monster. And then if Alluring Mirror Split is destroyed by an opponent, or by the effect of a Harpie card, or an opponent's card effect, you can target one Harpie monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use each of its effects once per turn, though. Then I play the one copy of Harpie's Hunting Ground. Hunting Ground just has the effect of, if a Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal or special summoned, mandatory effect to destroy target one spell or trap on the field and destroy it. This will come up with probably one of the best searchers, but the only downside of the best searcher is it searches during the end phase. So that's one thing I don't like about Harpies, is that they do a bunch of searching usually during the end phase. Then I play one copy of Monster Reborn, just because Monster Reborn. One copy of Harpie's Feather Duster, because this is a Harpie deck, so what's Harpies without playing Harpie's Feather Duster? It just destroys all spells and traps your opponent's control. I do want this card to go to 3, because if it gets put to 3, I'm definitely going to be doing nothing but play Harpie Lady. Then I'm going to play 2 copies of Harpie's Feather Rest. Feather Rest lets you pot Avarice 3 Harpie Lady monsters to then draw 1 card, but control level 5 or higher Harpie Lady or Harpie monster. When it's activated, you draw 2 instead. But it also has the effect, if it's destroyed or if it's set on the field and gets destroyed. Wait. I think I'm thinking of another card. Okay, I'm thinking of another card. Feather Rest just lets you draw 2 if you control a level 5 or higher monster, but when it's activated, you cannot. For the rest of the turn, you're not allowed to special summon monsters except wind monsters, and you can only activate 1 per turn. I'm thinking of probably another card. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm thinking of now that has the effect of it's destroyed. Anyway, moving on. 3 Elegant Egotist. If you control a Harpie Lady, you can special summon a Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters from your hand or deck. Simple effect, but yet really good. Then I play 3 copies of Unexpected Die. If you control a monster, special summon a level 4 or normal from your deck. In this case, Harpie Lady. Then I play 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. Hysteric Sign on activation, when it's activated, you add an Elegant Egotist from your hand or from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Then during the end phase, if Hysteric Sign was destroyed by a card effect, you can add 3 different Harpie cards, or 3 different cards from your deck to your hand as long as they list Harpie in their name. So these can be spells, traps, or monsters. The only downside is you only use 1 effect of Hysteric Sign per turn. So normally what I would do with this is I would activate it, search for Elegant Egotist, summon a Tornado Dragon, then on my opponent's turn I'll destroy Hysteric Sign, and then I'll get 3 searches. But Hysteric Sign is a really dumb card for Harpies, and I really like it. Moving on with the traps, I play 2 copies of Hysteric Party. You activate it by discarding a card, but then you special summon as many copies of Harpie Lady from your graveyard as possible. However, when Hysteric Party leaves the field, it is destroyed. All monsters summoned by its effect are destroyed. Then I play probably 3 copies of the dumbest trap in the game, being 3 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm. All you have to do to activate this is control a Wind Winged Beast monster, but until the end of the turn, negate any monster effect your opponent activates. So your opponent can activate monster effects, those be negated. Which is why it's dumb, because then the only effects they're getting are the cost part of effects, like Dante's effect to mill 3, which would then do nothing because then they can't activate the effect of any of the cards in mill. But it also says this is the card I was thinking of earlier, where it has the effect of if it's set and destroyed by an opponent's card, then you could add a Harpie's Feather Duster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So there's that. And then to finish out the deck, I am playing. This can literally be any other card, but I'm also going to be replacing it with something like Ash or Impermanence, but I am playing 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. I like this because I can use it with Harpie's Hunting Ground, where my opponent has to set all their spells, where I can then destroy them with Harpie's Feather Duster if it was already set, or Harpie's Hunting Ground, just by summoning Harpie Ladies. But that is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Imduk, the World Chalice Dragon. This is only in here because it's a Link 1 Wind Dragon that requires a normal monster. This is the card reason you're playing Harpie Lady. You're not using any of its effects in this deck except using it as a dragon. Then I do play 1 copy of Paraplant Anaconda because I hate Dragoon, and Dragoon is too good to not be played, but I hate the card itself. Anaconda has the effect where you can target 1 monster on the field and it becomes dark till the end of the turn. But you can also pay 2,000 life points and send a fusion card from your deck to the graveyard to then copy its effects. So in this case, Red Eyes Fusion. However, if you use that effect, you're not allowed to special summon, normal summon, special summon, or set for the rest of the turn. So you knew when Anaconda going, or the last monster you make. Then I play 3 copies of Harpie Conductor for the protection effect and the spell and trap destruction when you need it. Then I play 1 copy of Ross Valgar, the Desperate Doom Eagle. I like this card against Drytron because what they'll do is they'll end up using or activating a card with a tribute, so it'll tribute Benton. Then I'll chain Ross Valgar to return Benton to the deck. But the reason I love it so much is because Cyber Angel Benton cannot activate its effect if it didn't get a chance to activate it in the first place. So because they paid their cost by tributing it, I can then respond to their effect to return Benton to the deck, and because it didn't get a chance to activate, it won't. Or at least that's how it was explained to me. As long as you can remove the Benton from the graveyard before it can trigger, so like returning to the deck, banishing it, returning it to the hand, which usually isn't a good idea with the last one, it won't trigger. But Rustvalgar also has the effect of, if your opponent has no monsters in the graveyard, it gains 2,400 attack, so it can be a beat stick when your opponent's not expecting it. It can go from 24 to 48 for no apparent reason. Then, to finish off the links, I play 1 copy of Samorg, Bird of Sovereignty. The only effects that matter here is that Winged Beasts it points to and itself cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects. And during the end phase, you can special summon 1 Winged Beast from your hand or deck, as long as its level is equal to or lower than the number of unoccupied spell and trap zones. So as long as there's 4 open zones, you'll be able to summon literally anything you want from your deck that's a level 4 Winged Beast. Then moving on to the Synchros, you play 2 copies of Cyber Slash Harpie Lady. This card's in here because it is going to be the main level 5 or higher Harpie, other than when you're doing your starting hand. But it also has the effect of if a spell or trap card or effect is activated, then you can target 1 Harpie monster or 1 monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. This actually does come in handy every once in a while. Then moving on to the Xyz monsters, I play 2 copies of Lightning Chidori. When it's Xyz summon, target 1 stack card your opponent controls, return it to the bottom of the deck. And then he's material, target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, return it to the top of the deck. Then I play 2 copies of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. Phantasmal Dragon has the effect where it only gets its effects when it has materials. But it has the effect of it can attack your opponent directly, but your opponent's not allowed to target any Harpie monsters you control with effects or for attacks. But during each end phase, you have to use 1 material. So this card by itself can deal 6,000 damage if your opponent does nothing about it. And then to finish off the Xyz monsters, I play 1 copy of Tornado Dragon. It's just a generic rank 4 that has the quick effect of using material to then target 1 spell attack card on the field and destroy it. Then to finish off the extra deck for fusions, I play the 1 Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This card needs to get banned immediately. If True King of all calamities need to be banned, Dragoon needed to be banned yesterday. But the Dragoon has the effect of it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. If your opponent would activate a card or effect, you can discard 1 card, negate that effect activation, and destroy it. And if you do destroy it, it gains 1,000 attack points permanently. If it was just that, I might be fine with it. Actually, I wouldn't, because it gets bigger when it negates, never mind. But on top of all of that, it also has the effect of, for each normal monster that is used for its fusion summoning, you can just target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, burn your opponent's life points for that monster's attack points on the field. Or its original attack, not on field. That'd be dumb. But I'm talking about Dragoon. The point is, this card shouldn't exist because it's overpowered. This card's not healthy for the game at all if Calamities was banned. But that's it for the extra deck. Moving on to the best opening hand I found. You'll need 1 unexpected die, Harpie Channeler, and Harpie Harpist. So you'll do with this is you'll activate unexpected die, which will then special summon Harpie Lady from your deck. Then, before you do anything else, you'll then link off the Harpie Lady to summon Imduck. And because you control a dragon, you can now normal summon Channeler. And then Channeler now is treated as level 7. She'll activate its effects, getting rid of Harpist, to then summon Perfumer. And because you control level 5, you can now add 2 spells or traps that specifically list Harpie Lady Sisters. She'll add 2 copies of Elegant Egotist. Then you'll activate your 2 Elegant Egotists, summoning 2 more Harpie Ladies. And then from there, you'll link off the 2 Harpie Ladies and Imduck to summon some more. Link off the Perfumer and Channeler to summon Anaconda. And then, since it is off of only 3 cards, depending on what other cards you have in your hand, you might do other things first. But then you'll activate Anaconda's effect, dumping the Red Eyes Fusion, paying 2,000 life points, sending Red Eyes and Dark Magician to the grave. Summon Dragoon. And then, end phase, you'll get to summon your Wind Barrier statue. which, thanks to some more, can't be targeted because it's a winged beast it points to. And Harpist will let you add any level 4 or lower winged beast with 1400 or less attack. So you'll add Chandler because it's the starter. So now that it's your end phase, and based on just this, you have 3 cards in your hand. And the only thing that would make this dumber would be if you had Harpie's Featherstorm, because then your opponent can't special summon. You have a Dragoon in play, which is a problem by itself. And they can't activate monster effects due to Featherstorm. That's the part of the thing I don't like about Dragoon. You can just toss it into any deck because of Anaconda. One of these 2 cards needs to get banned. Preferably Dragoon. Excuse me. But that is the main thing with this deck. But most of my plans usually end up being I'm going to improvise and hope for the best. Hence my deck themes usually being random bullshit yo. But that is it for my Harpie deck profile. If you have any ideas of what I can do to improve the deck, or have ideas of other decks you would like me to try to make, feel free to comment those below. Or because I'm trying to add more games to or make more actual dueling videos, feel free to comment what decks you want to see face each other. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.